Hello students, this is a brief video intended to help you navigate the African American experience, which is the database that we will be using most frequently for our class together on African American history. Each week you will receive a reading list from me. You can see right here this is the second week because it's listed as number 2, and the reading list will be available to you via Canvas on the website's homepage or on the module of that particular week. So if we're in week 2, you're going to use module 2. If we're in week 3, you're going to use module 3, etc. I will also send a reminder or an announcement at the beginning of each week reminding you of the assigned reading for that week. So you're going to get a reading list, and since it's early in the semester, you might need a reminder of exactly what we're doing here in this class when it comes to the required reading. So every reading list will contain a reminder or a link to a reminder of how to use texts and the library for this class. It will also contain the required reading for that week. So this week every week you'll get assigned secondary sources and primary sources that I would like for you to consider, analyze, and read in your study of African American history. So you'll always have the opportunity to click for a reminder on how to use texts and the library in this class. This is a cost-effective class, meaning I don't actually assign a large textbook to you and give you pages or sections or chapters that you need to read, so it is a little bit different. Though we will use Toni Morrison's Beloved a little bit later in the semester, the majority of the resources that you are going to be reading and analyzing for this class are available to you through the school library or through open access on the web. So as I've mentioned, this means that the class looks a little bit different. If you ever need a reminder, here you have a link to our campus library system, which is just the homepage, and the 24/7 Ask a Librarian feature, which is very helpful. If you find yourself at 11 o'clock at night trying to complete the reading and you can't find it, you can access a librarian and ask for help at any time. These are the databases that we will be using primarily throughout the semester. Now, every single database is set up differently and has different privileges, different ways of searching, and different organization. So, though we're using quite a few throughout the semester, the one that we use most frequently is the African American experience. It almost fits in or substitutes as our textbook. So this video is specifically focused on using and exploring this database. If you have additional needs in finding something in U.S. History in Context or Credo or the History Reference Center, there's another video on our Canvas that helps you navigate those two as well. So there's a link to all of the library databases, including the ones we'll be using. And so when you see that you have something assigned that's from African American experience, you're going to need to click on this link or bookmark your link so that you can access it every single week. When I assign you reading, so here's the example of the week 2 reading list, and here is the first piece of critical inquiry that I want you to read. It's a brief article written by Lauren Gallo. This is how I identify it for you. It's in MLA format, and you also notice that whatever database I am using that week or we are using that week is listed at the end of the citation in brackets. So here's a little graphic to remind you. We'll come back to this right here, what topic means and what the bolded identifier means. It will help you in your search. Here's the author, Lauren Gallo. Here's the title of the article. And then here in brackets, you can see right here, that tells you the name of the database to search. So I'm going to scroll up here to the link for library databases. So you get your reading list. It's week 2. Dr. Sherilyn has assigned 4 things to read, 2 articles by Lauren Gallo, a reference article. Don't forget down here you might see a course companion. So you actually have 4 secondary sources to read this week, and then you additionally have some images to consider, which will stand in as our primary sources this week. So you're going to access the library databases in whatever way you see fit. One of the easiest things you can do is just bookmark it. So you can see I have my own bookmarks dragged right here, so I can just click easily to the library guide every time I need access to it. Or you can do what I just did, which is navigate through that one content page that you'll have access to every single week. So here you are. These are the 92 databases that are available through our library. We won't use 92 databases, but we will use about 10 throughout the semester. So if it's not African American experience, you can use these alphabetical letters to find whatever database it is. So if it's U.S. History and Context, you click U. If it's History Reference Center, H, Credo, C, etc. Or you can always search by subject and database types. But for the purposes of African American experience, it's actually number 3 because the databases are listed alphabetically. So if the library adds additional databases throughout the semester, sure, it might be number 5 eventually, or it might move up or down, but it's always going to be under A's, so keep that in mind. So here's where you're going to click right there. Now you have accessed our online textbook. So essentially, the African American experience is under the American Mosaic series, which is an online open access resource. It's not completely open because it's not free to the public. It's actually unique that we have access to this because you get it through your association with South Mountain Community College. But it is a really useful source, and it's a really excellent way to do research and to learn about history because it's always going to be growing and evolving instead of being something that is out of date within a few years. Okay, so I'm going to help you figure out how in the world to get to these 4 articles. We'll focus on these secondary sources right here because you notice that the primary source is accessed through a different database. Therefore, you'll need to watch the other video to see if you need help on how to access other databases. So we're just going to focus here on the secondary sources today. So the very first thing you're reading is by Lauren Gallo, and I list here topic, right? You see the word topic. You also see the title. You see the name of the database in brackets, and then again we come back to that word topic. All right, so from the homepage of the African American experience, they're always going to have whatever that seasonal topic was. So right now their seasonal topic was slavery and the Civil War. And so if that potentially changes sometime through the spring semester, you'll still be able to access these articles. You'll just have to find them a different way. But for the sake of today, we're really specifically focusing on Lauren Gallo's article. Actually articles because she has 2 that we're looking for. This word topic is key. Anytime it's bolded, it gives you an identifier as to where you can find it in the database or what it might look like in the database. So topic, Lauren Gallo, Ancient African Civilizations, 500 to 1500. Your instinct, or many of our instincts, might be to just search, right? Type these words into the search bar, and you can do that. But it's slightly unnecessary when the type of article I've asked you to find is a topic, because you can see right here on the home page, and depending on how you have your screen set up, the home page might be on the left and it might be on the top. But right here on that very first page, you see these words, browse topics, right? Ancient African Civilizations from 500 to 1500, Africa and the Atlantic from 500 to 1500. You could probably bet that you're going to be able to find that within that first topic. So because it says topic, it's going to be easily accessed in the topic bar. Something to notice, because this class ends in 1865 and the 1877 Reconstruction era, we actually only make use of these top 5 topics. So anything beyond these top 5 topics, we're not even going to read or consider. So the first thing you find is Ancient African Civilizations, and this is the article by Lauren Gallo. And the way you know that is you'll scroll all the way to the bottom before you begin reading and just double check that this is the correct article, and it is right here. Lauren Gallo, Ancient African Civilizations, 500 to 1500. Sure enough, there it is. In addition, I might include something that's called a course companion. Again, it's bolded. So after you've read this first article, you're going to go and read the second article, correct? And you notice right below it, it says course companion. So here you are, you're reading the second article by Lauren Gallo. And then you see Dr. Sherilyn wants you to read the course companion on the Atlantic slave trade. And here it is. So you'll scroll to the bottom every time and make sure that it's the correct article. Joannes Postma, and here you have Joannes Postma, the Atlantic Slave Trade Overview. Atlantic Slave Trade Overview. So you know you're reading the correct information. The last thing I want to show you is in some cases it does make more sense to search. If it says topic, or course companion, those things are easily found on the menu item. They're almost like chapters or maybe subheadings inside the chapter. But right here, when you see these words reference, article, or if you see something under primary sources that is obtained in the African American Experience database, those things are harder to find via the topics because they are you're almost using an index instead. So you're trying to find these sources and they're not necessarily going to be listed in like a table of contents. So for this particular one, I want you to learn about slave women and the Middle Passage. So this is a good example when you have a reference article that you can actually use the search bar. So you can copy the title. The title works best for African American Experience, and as I mentioned, every database is different. So I think that the title works best for this particular database. You can go to the top and hit the search bar, paste in the title, Women in the Middle Passage, Slave Women in the Middle Passage, and here you are. The reference library, Middle Passage, Slave Women, and the. And it says reference, you might notice, it says reference articles right here, which means, oh wait, Dr. Sherilyn said reference article, perfect. So you click on this, and this is the article that you'll need to read about women aboard slave ships as they're crossing the Atlantic. In terms of the search bar, however, I want to show you why sometimes it works better to use the topic or the browse topics feature, because if you just Google, or not Google, if you just one search the name of the author, you may not actually end up with the information. So let's say you just try and do all the information. So you're just gonna search Gallo's name and the title. See how it says your search did not return any results, but we just saw for sure that that article exists. Well, why did that happen? In part because it's a textbook and not a journal. So searching by the author doesn't necessarily work in a textbook because they don't necessarily get credit the same way that an editor might for a big textbook. But look, if you just enter the name of the title, you're going to get the topic center. You're just going to get the topic anyway. So you've conducted additional searching for no good reason when you could have just clicked on the very top thing under browsing topics. So I hope that helps you a little bit with our most significant database. A few things that are really helpful. You can always save, email, or print the article. You can always use the citation device. When I ask for the citation, I encourage you to use this instead of trying to retype it, because this is what people are paid to do, right? They're paid to generate these things. And then additionally, for those of you who are more comfortable with another language, you can translate the article for a different language. So you can select, my screen doesn't show you, but you could select Spanish, which is a few down. You can select Arabic. Those of you who prefer to use a different language, you can. And for us, we're not going to do that, because the other thing you can do, for those of you who want to listen as you read, the audio won't be picked up by this screencast, but you can click to listen.
The early history of Africa
and it will help you kind of read as you read through the article. So I hope that helps you. Remember to use your resources. If you can't find what you're looking for, you can't figure out how to access the material, you can always use the One Search feature. And I also suggest the 24/7 Ask a Librarian feature, where you can just have a chat with the librarian and ask them, I need help with African American Experience. Though I do welcome your questions and your concerns, by about the second week or the third week, I expect you to be able to navigate these databases on your own without my help. So either use the resources that you have with each other, the open dialogue discussion groups, or use the librarian. All right, best of luck, students. I look forward to seeing what you have to say.